Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is me going over week 1 of the July weekly premium challenge. It's a medium problem. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about this one. Have I done this one? Oh, nice. It's a new one. I'm always excited for a new problem. So let's take a look. 1101, the earliest moment when everyone become friends. Okay, that's a very awkward title, but alright, let's keep on. There are n people in a social group from 0 to n-1. You're given an array logs, but logs of I has timestamp x I, y sub I, and x and y will be friends of timestamp. Symmetric, Okay, so okay, symmetric and transitive, even though they didn't say it that way. A is going if A is friends with B, or A is a friend of someone acquainted with B. Okay, yeah, so transitive, and yeah, I mean, I think this is basically n is 100, so you can actually do. I mean, you could do whatever you like, but this is basically two problems. One is just sorting, and sorting is pretty easy. Just sort by the logs, right? And the other, it's just basically, you're given edges at certain timestamp, and at that timestamp, you try to figure out whether the graph is fully connected, right? So it's a graph problem, it's a connected components problem. There are a couple of ways to do it, but I think the union find is probably the most natural, just because it does give it to you in a way just a very natural way of doing it with this one, with progressively building the connected components graph. That said, n is equal to 100. You probably could be a little bit sloppy on this, and it will probably be okay. But there's no need. I don't know why there's some like 4 hints on this one. But yeah, and I'm curious about the n. That's why I'm like pausing a couple of seconds and just make sure that I understand the problem correctly, because the same thing can be done for a much higher n, but maybe that's why that makes it a medium. And of course, this problem was probably from a long time ago, where union find is like, this is probably like a easier medium now, but I don't know. All right, even with a bigger n. So we sort, and in Python, it's a pairwise comparison sort kind of thing. Did I say that right? Maybe. By the way, it's just comparison by components. So it will sort the first thing first. So now we can do for TS for timestamp. What do you call it? A and B or something? X, Y in logs. But then now we want to do something like we have our union find data structure. We union up. Or actually, I think I'll just write it this way, right? X and Y. Right, and then now if there are a couple of ways you can actually. There are 2 ways you can do this part of it, and I'm just kind of was a little bit lazy writing it out, thinking about it, or writing it out. But I just want to give you the option, even with union find, right? The thing with union find is that you can do the version with size, meaning you could merge by size and all these things, right, with union find, which I think if you need practice with that, definitely get practice of that. And then now after a union, if you could do something like if the union size of x is equal to n, then you return TS or something like this. So that's one way of doing it, right? So that, and also, like I said, if you are not familiar with that way, you should practice it. I think it's good practice. I'm a little bit lazy though, so I'm not going to practice that. The other thing to observe is that if u find of x is not equal to u find of y, that means that now you make a new connection between 2 things, and then you union it, right? And the thing is that it turns out that if you have a connected, if you have a graph with n nodes, you only need need, and you could kind of think about it as a minimum spanning tree, or just a spanning tree in general. A spanning tree with n nodes with n minus 1 edges, right? So you could do it that way. So then now, if count is equal to n minus 1, then now you can return ts. So that's basically the idea, and then maybe return -1. And you need a ufind thing, because otherwise, then adding this edge does not make us closer to the goal. So yeah, so that's basically the idea. And now we're gonna just crank out. Is it 0, 1? 0 indexed? Yep. Just crank out the union find code. This is usually the way I write it. Sometimes I write it differently, but not usually. I mean, sometimes I don't use the array version. Sometimes I rewrite it using set, but sometimes I also make mistakes. So, so when I don't write it quite the same way, it's usually because I have a mistake. But also, you know, I think it's possible to kind of just, you know, every line has a meaning, right? So as long as you're kind of consistent about your meaning, it should be fine. Right. That's basically it. Yeah. Unless I misunderstood some tie-breaking things or something, which that was the thing that as soon as I could submit, I'm like, oh wait, I should make sure that the timestamp thing is a little bit awkward. But it seems like they're all unique, so that makes it easier to not have to sort it out. But yeah. Yeah. So what's the complexity here, right? Sorting is going to be n log n. That's probably going to be the lower bound. I can't imagine it be otherwise. I think they don't get. I don't know. They don't say that they're giving to you in increasing order, unless I missed it. So I just assume that you have to sort, and if you have to sort, then it's going to be n log n, right? Everything else is linear-ish. Kind of, and I say ish because it's kind of awkward, because n is an input, but logs is not in it. Is like the number of edges, right? So you have y, and this is linear in the size of y, right? This is O of y linear thing. These are O of inverse argument of n, which is technically based on n, but it's still going to be O of 1 for most real numbers. Well, when I say real, I don't mean real. I mean most practical numbers, say. But yeah, so this is that, and yeah. So this is going to be n of O of y, which is this linear size. But this is O of n, which is not quite linear, so yeah, it's a little bit awkward. And this is and I said n log n, but this is actually y log y, where y is the number of logs. So I misspoke a little bit because I was just being lazy, to be honest. But yeah, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay good, stay healthy, to good mental health. Let's kick off July great. I'll see y'all later. Take care. Bye bye.